Those words were written by Lucius Annaeus Seneca nearly 2,000 years ago, yet they perfectly describe your life right now. You wake up feeling behind, spend your day reacting to everyone else's priorities, and go to bed wondering where the time went. Sound familiar? Stop. Right now, pause this video and look at your watch. See that second hand moving? According to the Roman philosopher Seneca, you just wasted those 3 seconds worrying about time instead of living in it. And in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to prove to you that you have way more time than you think you do, and show you exactly how the world's most powerful people have been using this 2,000-year-old secret to reclaim hours of their life every single day. Today, we're diving deep into one of history's most brilliant minds on time. Seneca wasn't just some ivory tower philosopher. He was an advisor to Emperor Nero, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, running a business empire while navigating deadly political intrigue. If anyone understood the pressure of being busy, it was him. But here's what makes his insights revolutionary. Seneca discovered that our problem isn't lack of time. It's lack of awareness about how we're already wasting the time we have. And once you see what he saw, you can't unsee it. The Part 1. The Time-Wasting Epidemic. The Carelessness Crisis. In his first letter to his friend Lucilius, Seneca wrote something that should terrify every one of us. The largest portion of our life passes while we are doing ill, a goodly share while we are doing nothing, and the whole while we are doing that which is not to the purpose. Think about yesterday. How much time did you spend? Scrolling social media without purpose? In meetings that accomplished nothing? Worrying about things you can't control? Doing busy work that felt important but moved nothing forward? Seneca identified 3 types of time loss that destroy our lives. Type 1. Torn time. When external forces steal our attention, your phone buzzes, someone interrupts your deep work, or you get pulled into someone else's emergency. Modern research shows we're interrupted every 11 minutes, and it takes 23 minutes to refocus fully. Type 2. Filched time. When we let time slip away through poor boundaries, saying yes to everything, not protecting our schedules, letting other people's priorities become our emergencies. Type 3. Glided time. The most dangerous kind. When we're physically present but mentally absent, going through the motions, autopilot living is what Seneca calls existing instead of living. The mortality reality check. Here's where Seneca gets brutal. He says, "You are dying daily." Not in some abstract future sense, right now. What time did you spend watching TV last night? Dead. Gone forever. What was the hour you spent in that pointless meeting? You'll never get it back. Most people live as if they're immortal. They postpone meaningful conversations, delay pursuing their dreams, and waste time on trivial pursuits because they assume there will always be more time. But Seneca forces us to confront the truth. Time is the one loan you can never repay. Part 2. The Present Moment Revolution. Why the past and future steal your life. Seneca discovered something modern neuroscience has confirmed. We're only truly alive now. Yet most people live everywhere except the present. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. Think about your mental real estate right now. 30% might be replaying past conversations, past mistakes, past victories. 40% might be anxious about future deadlines, future problems, future scenarios. Maybe 30% is present to what's happening right now. The expectation trap. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. This is perhaps Seneca's most powerful insight for modern professionals. We've become addicted to perpetual preparation for life rather than living it. We tell ourselves, once I get this promotion, I'll be happy. After I finish this project, then I'll have time for my family. When I reach this goal, then I'll finally relax. But what happens when you reach those milestones? You immediately set new ones. You're always getting ready to live, but never actually living. The ownership of now. Everything else can be taken from you. Your money, reputation, health, and relationships. But this moment, right now, belongs entirely to you. The question is, what are you doing with it? Part 3. Reclaiming Wasted Time. Seneca's Practical System. Technique 1. The Daily Time Audit. Seneca was obsessive about tracking his time. Every evening he would review his day and ask, what wound did I heal today? What failing did I resist? Where can I show improvement? Modern application. For 1 week, track every hour. Not to judge yourself, but to become aware. You can't manage what you don't measure. Most people are shocked to discover they waste 3 to 4 hours daily on activities that add no value to their lives. Technique 2. The Carpe Diem Principle. Lay hold of today's task, and you will not need to depend so much upon tomorrow's. While we are postponing, life speeds by. This isn't about productivity hacks, it's about presence. When you're working, be fully working. When you're with family, be complete with family. When resting, rest instead of feeling guilty about not working. Technique 3. The Philosophy Hour. Seneca believed that the only people who truly live are those who make time for philosophy, for reflection, examining their lives, and connecting with wisdom larger than themselves. Modern translation. Schedule non-negotiable time for thinking. Not planning, not problem-solving, but deep reflection. This is where insights emerge, creativity flourishes, and you remember what matters. Technique 4. The Memento Mori Practice. Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. Every morning, remind yourself that this could be your last day. Not to create anxiety, but to create urgency around what matters. When you truly grasp the finite nature of time, you stop wasting it on trivial pursuits. Part 4. Modern Applications for Busy Professionals. The Executive's Dilemma. Modern research shows that executives spend 23 hours weekly in meetings, check email every 6 minutes, and switch between tasks every 3 minutes. Seneca would call this collective insanity. Application 1. The Seneca Schedule. Structure your day like Seneca. Morning. Sacred time for deep work. No meetings, no email. Midday. Administrative tasks and communication. Afternoon. Collaborative work and meetings. Evening. Reflection and planning. Application 2. The Distraction Fortress. Seneca wrote, "Nothing can be compared to a faithful friend, but the mind that has been well trained is as good as many friends. Train your mind to resist digital distractions." Modern research shows that knowledge workers check communication tools every 6 minutes. Each interruption costs 23 minutes of focused attention. Practical implementation. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Create sacred blocks of uninterrupted time. Use the 2-minute rule for small tasks. Batch similar activities together. Application 3. The Priority Filter. Seneca taught us to only allocate time to activities that align with our deepest values. Modern professionals try to do everything and end up accomplishing nothing meaningful. The Seneca filter. Before saying yes to any commitment, ask: 1. Does this align with my core values? 2. Will this matter in 5 years? 3. Am I doing this out of fear or for a purpose? 4. What am I saying no to if I say yes to this? Application 4. The energy-time alignment. Match your most important work to your peak energy hours. Seneca understood that time without energy is wasted time. Don't spend your best hours on email and your tired hours on creative work. Part 5. The deeper transformation. Beyond time management to time wisdom. Seneca's ultimate insight. Time management isn't about efficiency, but identity. The question isn't, how can I get more done? But who am I becoming through how I spend my time? The gratitude revolution. True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. When you stop racing towards some imaginary future where you'll finally be happy, you discover that contentment was available all along. This isn't spiritual bypassing, it's practical wisdom. Grateful people make better decisions, have more energy, and paradoxically accomplish more while feeling less stressed. The legacy lens. Seneca forces us to confront an uncomfortable question. When you're gone, what will have mattered? What are the emails you answered or the relationships you built? What were the meetings you attended or the impact you made? The busy work or the meaningful work? Seneca discovered the truth that can change your life. You don't need more time. You need more consciousness about the time you already have. Starting tomorrow morning, I want you to try the Seneca challenge. 1. Wake up and declare, "This day will never come again. What legacy will I create with these 24 hours?" 2. Before checking your phone, spend 5 minutes in complete silence, breathing and being present. 3. Throughout the day, when you catch yourself rushing or feeling overwhelmed, pause and ask, am I living this moment or just surviving it? 4. Before bed, reflect. What did I do today that I'll remember on my deathbed? What did I waste that I can reclaim tomorrow? Remember Seneca's final insight. Life is long if you know how to use it. You have more time than you think. You need the wisdom to see it and the courage to claim it. If this shifts your perspective on time, hit that like button and subscribe for more ancient wisdom that solves modern problems. And in the comments, tell me, what's one thing you'll stop wasting time on starting today? The clock is ticking, but you're actually watching it with purpose for the first time. Stop scrolling. Please think about the last 3 major conflicts you've had. Different people, different situations, but I bet there's a pattern you haven't noticed. You may always end up with emotionally unavailable partners. Maybe every boss you've had has been controlling. You may find yourself having the same arguments with different people. Here's what will blow your mind. According to Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists in history, you're not just attracting these problems, you're unconsciously creating them. By the end of this video, you'll understand precisely how your mind is playing tricks on you, and more importantly, how to break free from these patterns forever. Carl Jung wasn't just another therapist sitting in an office. He was a Swiss psychiatrist who revolutionized our understanding of the human psyche, working with thousands of patients and developing concepts that still transform lives today. Jung discovered something that most people never realize. The external world we experience largely reflects our internal psychological state. But here's what makes Jung's insights so powerful. He didn't just theorize. He lived it. Jung himself went through what he called his confrontation with the unconscious, a period where he had to face the psychological patterns that were creating chaos in his life. What he discovered during this dark period became the foundation for understanding why we keep repeating the same mistakes. The concept we're exploring today, psychological projection, is perhaps Jung's most practical discovery for everyday life. It explains why you keep having the same arguments, why certain people always seem to push your buttons, and why changing your external circumstances never solves your core problems. Part 1. The projection phenomenon, the mirror of relationships. Jung discovered that we don't see people as they are. We see them as we are. Every person in your life is essentially a mirror reflecting parts of your psyche that you're unaware of or unwilling to acknowledge. Think about that person who gets under your skin. Maybe it's a coworker who's constantly interrupting in meetings. Perhaps it's a family member who's continually playing the victim. Maybe it's that friend who never follows through on their commitments. Jung would say that your intense emotional reaction to these people isn't about them. It's about something inside you. The 3 types of projection. Jung identified 3 main ways we project our unconscious material onto others. Shadow projection. This is when we see our own rejected qualities in others. If you pride yourself on honesty, you might be constantly surrounded by people you perceive as liars or manipulators. The intensity of your reaction reveals that dishonesty is a disowned part of your personality. Animus projection. This is how we project our unconscious masculine or feminine qualities onto romantic partners. Women might find themselves repeatedly attracted to men who embody the assertiveness they've suppressed in themselves. Men might be drawn to women who express the emotional sensitivity they've learned to hide. Parental projection. We unconsciously recreate our early family dynamics in adult relationships. If you had a critical parent, you might find yourself in relationships with crucial partners or become the critical one yourself, perpetuating the same dynamic from the other side. The emotional charge test. Here's how you can identify your projections. Think about the last time someone triggered you. It annoyed you and made you feel that hot, intense emotional charge. Jung called this emotional constellation. When something in the external world activates an unconscious complex within you, that emotional charge is your psyche saying, "Pay attention. There's something here you need to understand about yourself." The stronger the reaction, the more critical the projection. Part 2. How we create our external reality. The unconscious magnet. Jung discovered that we unconsciously attract people and situations that will activate our unresolved psychological material. It's as if your psyche has an internal magnet that draws in the experiences you need to become conscious of your hidden patterns. This isn't mystical thinking, it's practical psychology. You behave in ways that invite specific responses from others. If you have an unconscious belief that you're not worthy of love, you'll subtly push away people who try to get close to you, or you'll be attracted to people who confirm your unworthiness by treating you poorly. The self-fulfilling prophecy mechanism. Let me give you a concrete example. Sarah came to therapy complaining that every man she dated was emotionally unavailable. She'd been through this pattern 5 times in 3 years. Different men, same outcome. Through Jung's approach, we discovered that Sarah had an unconscious fear of intimacy stemming from childhood abandonment. Without realizing it, she was choosing men who showed early signs of emotional unavailability because they felt safe. They wouldn't trigger her more profound fear of being truly seen and potentially rejected. But here's the twist. When these men did start to open up emotionally, Sarah would unconsciously sabotage the relationship. She'd pick fights, become overly critical, or suddenly find reasons they weren't right for her. She was creating the very abandonment she feared most, the compensation principle. Jung taught that the psyche always seeks balance through compensation. If you're overly identified as the strong one, life will present situations that force you to confront your vulnerability. If you see yourself as the victim, you'll unconsciously create scenarios where you can maintain that identity. This is why simply changing your external circumstances rarely works. You can move to a new city, start a new job, or end a relationship. But if you haven't addressed the unconscious patterns creating these situations, you'll recreate the same dynamics in your new environment. The repetition compulsion. Freud noticed that people tend to repeat traumatic experiences. Still, Jung understood why. The psyche is trying to heal itself by recreating situations where you can finally resolve the original wound. Every complex relationship, every challenging boss, every recurring conflict is your unconscious mind's attempt to give you another chance to heal an old pattern. The problem is that without consciousness, we keep repeating the same responses that created the situation in the first place. We stay stuck in what Jung called the eternal return, endlessly cycling through the same experiences without learning from them. Part 3. The Self-Reflection Framework. The 4-step projection withdrawal process. Jung developed a practical method for reclaiming your projections and breaking these unconscious patterns. I will walk you through his 4-step process that you can start using immediately. Step 1. Recognition. The first step is recognizing when you're in projection. Ask yourself, what am I seeing in this person creating such a strong emotional reaction? Please write down the specific qualities that bother you most about them. Be brutally honest. Don't soften it or make it politically correct. Step 2. Ownership. This is the hardest step. You need to find that quality within yourself. Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. If someone's arrogance triggers you, look for the ways you might be arrogant. If their neediness annoys you, examine your own unmet needs. The key is understanding that you might express this quality differently than they do, or have it in potential rather than in action. Maybe you're not outwardly arrogant, but you have an inner arrogance that you've learned to hide. Step 3. Integration. Once you've owned the projection, you need to integrate it consciously. This doesn't mean becoming what you dislike. Accepting that this quality exists within you and finding a healthy way to express it. If someone's assertiveness has triggered you because you've suppressed your own, start practicing healthy assertiveness. If you're bothered by someone's emotional expression because you've learned to hide your feelings, begin allowing yourself to feel and express emotions appropriately. Step 4. Transformation. The final step is using this awareness to transform relationships and life patterns. When you stop projecting your disowned qualities onto others, you stop attracting people who will act them out for you. You can see people more clearly and respond to them from consciousness rather than unconscious reactivity. The daily projection practice. Here's a practical exercise you can do every day. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Who triggered me today, and what specific quality in them created that reaction? 2. How might I possess that same quality, even if I express it differently? 3. What is this trigger trying to teach me about myself? Write down your answers. Over time, you'll see patterns in your projections that reveal the unconscious material you need to integrate. Part 4. Breaking the pattern. The conscious relationship revolution. When you start withdrawing your projections, your relationships transform dramatically. Instead of unconsciously reacting to people based on what they represent to your psyche, you begin to see them as they are. This creates space for genuine intimacy and authentic connection. But here's what Jung discovered that most people don't expect. When you stop projecting onto others, they often change their behavior toward you. This happens because you no longer unconsciously invite them to play specific roles in your psychological drama. The shadow integration process. The most powerful projections involve what Jung called the shadow. All the parts of yourself that you've learned are unacceptable and have been pushed into your unconscious. These shadow qualities don't disappear. They get projected onto other people, creating conflicts and attractions that dominate your relationships. Shadow work isn't about becoming your worst qualities, but integrating them so they don't control you unconsciously. When you own your capacity for anger, manipulation, selfishness, or any other negative quality, you stop being triggered when you see these qualities in others and stop unconsciously expressing them in destructive ways. The individuation journey. Jung called the process of becoming conscious of your projections and integrating your shadow individuation, becoming who you truly are rather than who you think you should be. This is the ultimate goal of psychological development, to stop living your life in reaction to unconscious patterns and start creating your reality from conscious choice. Individuation doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming whole. It means accepting all parts of yourself, both light and dark, and learning to express them in healthy, conscious ways. Real-world application. Let me give you a concrete example of how this works. Mark was a successful businessman who kept having conflicts with authority figures. Every boss he'd ever had eventually became unreasonable and controlling in his eyes. He'd been through 6 jobs in 10 years, always leaving because of conflicts with management. Through shadow work, Mark discovered that he had his own unconscious need to control and dominate, which he'd learned to suppress because it wasn't acceptable in his family. He was projecting his own controlling nature onto his bosses and then rebelling against it. Once Mark consciously integrated his leadership and control needs, he stopped seeing every boss as a threat to his autonomy. He could work collaboratively with authority figures because he was no longer fighting his disowned power needs through them. Part 5. The Transformation. Living from Consciousness. The ultimate promise of Jung's work is that you can stop being a victim of your unconscious patterns and start living from conscious choice. When you understand how projection works, you realize that every person who triggers you is a teacher, showing you something about yourself that you need to integrate. This doesn't mean that all your relationship problems are your fault. It means that your reactions to other people's behavior reveal something important about your psychological development. Other people will still behave in ways you don't like, but you can respond from wisdom rather than reactivity when you're not projecting onto them. The ripple effect. When you start withdrawing your projections and integrating your shadow, it creates a ripple effect in all your relationships. Family members who used to push your buttons suddenly seem less triggering. Romantic partners stop playing out the same old dramas. Even difficult people at work become more manageable because you're not unconsciously inviting conflict. This is the true power of Jung's psychology. It doesn't just help you understand yourself better. It transforms your entire experience of reality. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the conscious creator of your life experience. The patterns that have been running your life don't have to continue. Jung's insights give you the tools to break free from unconscious repetition and create the relationships and life you want. If this video opened your eyes to something about yourself, hit that like button and tell me in the comments what projection you recognized in your life. And if you want to dive deeper into Jung's revolutionary psychology and learn more practical tools for transformation, subscribe and ring that notification bell. Because next week, we're exploring Jung's concept of the anima and animus, and how your unconscious masculine and feminine sides are secretly controlling your romantic relationships. Remember, Everything that triggers you is trying to teach you something about yourself. The question is, are you ready to listen? Stop what you're doing right now. I want you to think about the last time you felt anxious, depressed, or overwhelmed. Did you immediately consider booking a therapy session, or did you try to tough it out alone? Here's what will blow your mind. Both approaches might be wrong. What if I told you that a 2,000-year-old philosophy has been scientifically proven to be as effective as modern therapy for treating depression and anxiety? And what if I also said that combining ancient Stoicism with modern psychology creates something more powerful than either approach? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly when to use ancient wisdom, when to seek modern help, and how to integrate both for maximum mental resilience. We're living through a mental health crisis. Anxiety and depression rates have skyrocketed. Therapy wait lists are months long, and despite having more psychological knowledge than ever before, people seem more mentally fragile than previous generations. Meanwhile, ancient Stoic philosophy, developed by Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca over 2,000 years ago, is experiencing a massive revival. But here's where it gets interesting. Modern psychology and ancient Stoicism aren't just different approaches to the same problems. They're fundamentally different philosophies about what it means to be human and how change happens. Modern psychology's core premise: your thoughts and feelings are symptoms of underlying issues that must be understood, processed, and healed through professional intervention. Stoicism's core premise: your thoughts and feelings are within your control, and you can train yourself to respond to any situation with wisdom and virtue. One says, heal the wound, and the other says, build unbreakable strength. One focuses on understanding why you feel bad. The other focuses on choosing how to respond regardless of how you feel. The question isn't which one is right. It's when each approach serves you best. Part 1. The Stoic Approach. Ancient Strength Training. The Stoic Methodology. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or being emotionless. A common misconception. Stoicism is a practical training system for mental resilience based on 3 core disciplines. The discipline of perception. Learning to see events objectively rather than through the filter of your emotional reactions. When you lose your job, the Stoic asks, what happened versus what story am I telling myself about what happened? The discipline of action. Focusing your energy only on what you can control and accepting what you cannot. This isn't passive resignation, it's strategic energy allocation. The discipline of will. Train yourself to want what happens, rather than demanding that what you wish should happen. This is the most radical Stoic idea. Stoic techniques that work. Morning reflection. Start each day by mentally preparing for potential challenges and reminding yourself of your values and what you can control. Evening review. Analyzing your responses to the day's events, identifying where you acted according to virtue, and planning improvements for tomorrow. Negative visualization. Imagining loss or setbacks to build appreciation for what you have and mental preparation for adversity. The view from above. Zooming out to see your problems from a cosmic perspective, reducing their emotional charge. Scientific validation of Stoic practices. Modern research has validated many Stoic techniques. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, one of the most effective forms of contemporary therapy, is based on Stoic principles. Studies show that Stoic practices can reduce anxiety and depression and increase life satisfaction as effectively as traditional therapy. When Stoicism works best, Stoicism excels in situations requiring immediate emotional regulation, performance under pressure, dealing with uncontrollable circumstances, building long-term resilience, maintaining focus during a crisis. The Stoic limitations. But Stoicism has blind spots. It can become a form of spiritual bypassing, using philosophy to avoid dealing with legitimate emotional needs. It may not address trauma effectively, can discourage seeking help when needed, and sometimes promotes an unrealistic standard of emotional control. Part 2. The Modern Psychology Approach. Scientific Healing. The Psychology Methodology. Modern psychology operates from a fundamentally different premise: that mental suffering often stems from unconscious patterns, unresolved trauma, chemical imbalances, or learned behaviors that require professional intervention to change. Major psychological approaches. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, identifies and changes negative thought patterns and behaviors. Ironically, this is the most stoic of modern therapies. Psychodynamic therapy explores how unconscious patterns from the past influence present behavior and relationships. Humanistic therapy focuses on self-acceptance, personal growth, and finding meaning through authentic self-expression. Trauma-informed therapy specifically addresses how traumatic experiences affect the nervous system and requires specialized healing approaches. Modern psychology's strengths. Trauma processing. Psychology has sophisticated tools for healing trauma that Stoicism alone cannot address. Techniques like EMDR, somatic therapy, and trauma-informed CBT can rewire the brain's response to traumatic memories. Relationship dynamics. Modern therapy excels at helping people understand and change dysfunctional relationship patterns, attachment styles, and communication issues. Mental health disorders. For conditions like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, or severe depression, psychological intervention combined with medication can be life-saving. Emotional intelligence. Psychology provides frameworks for understanding and working with emotions, rather than simply controlling them. Scientific rigor. Modern psychology uses empirical research to validate treatments and continuously refines evidence-based approaches. When modern psychology works best, psychology is superior for processing trauma and abuse, treating severe mental health conditions, understanding unconscious patterns, improving relationships and communication, addressing addiction and compulsive behaviors. Psychology's limitations. However, modern psychology has its blind spots. It can create dependency on professional help, may pathologize everyday human struggles, sometimes focus too much on feelings rather than actions, and can be expensive and time-consuming. Part 3. The Integration Framework. Best of both worlds. Why integration beats either approach alone. The most powerful approach combines Stoic practices for daily resilience with psychological insights for more profound healing. Think of Stoicism as your daily mental fitness routine, and psychology as a specialized medical intervention when needed. The integrated model. Level 1. Daily Stoic practice. Use Stoic techniques for everyday emotional regulation, decision-making, and resilience building. This is your baseline mental fitness routine. Level 2. Psychological insight. When you notice recurring patterns, relationship issues, or emotional reactions that Stoic practices aren't resolving, seek psychological understanding. Level 3. Professional intervention. For trauma, severe mental health issues, or when self-help approaches aren't sufficient, engage professional psychological help. Practical integration strategies. The Stoic-informed therapy approach. Use Stoic principles to approach therapy with realistic expectations. Apply the dichotomy of control to the therapy process itself. Practice Stoic acceptance while working through psychological material. The psychologically informed Stoicism. Use psychological insights to understand why certain Stoic practices trigger resistance. Apply trauma-informed approaches to Stoic exercises. Recognize when Stoicism might be used as emotional avoidance. The daily integration practice. Morning. Start with Stoic reflection and intention setting. Throughout the day, apply Stoic techniques for immediate challenges. Evening. Use psychological insight to understand patterns and plant growth. Weekly. Assess whether deeper psychological work is needed. Case study: Sarah's integrated approach. Sarah struggled with anxiety and relationship conflicts. She started with Stoic practices, which helped her manage daily anxiety but didn't address her underlying attachment patterns. She then engaged in therapy to understand how childhood experiences created her relationship fears. Finally, she used Stoic techniques to implement the insights from treatment in daily life. The combination was more effective than either approach alone. Part 4. When to choose what? The decision framework. The Stoic first approach. Start with Stoicism when you're dealing with external circumstances beyond your control. You need immediate emotional regulation tools. You're facing performance pressure or high-stakes situations. You want to build general life resilience. You prefer self-directed approaches to growth. The psychology first approach. Start with psychology when you have a history of trauma or abuse. You're experiencing severe mental health symptoms. Your relationships consistently follow destructive patterns. You have addictive or compulsive behaviors. Self-help approaches haven't created lasting change. The integration indicators. Move to integration when Stoic practices help with symptoms but don't address root causes. Therapy provides insights, but you struggle with daily implementation. You want both immediate tools and a more profound understanding. You're committed to long-term personal development. Red flags for each approach. Stoicism becomes problematic when you use it to avoid dealing with legitimate emotional needs. You become judgmental of others who struggle emotionally. You suppress emotions rather than processing them healthily. You refuse help when you genuinely need it. Psychology becomes problematic when you become dependent on therapy without developing personal agency. You overanalyze without taking action. You pathologize everyday life challenges. You use psychological labels to avoid personal responsibility. The balanced approach. The healthiest approach combines Stoic agency with psychological insight. You take responsibility for your responses while acknowledging that some patterns require professional help to change. You build daily resilience while remaining open to more profound healing when needed. Part 5. Building your system. Creating your integrated practice. Step 1. Assessment. Evaluate your mental health, relationship patterns, and life challenges. Are you dealing with trauma, severe symptoms, or just everyday life stress? Step 2. Foundation building. Start with basic Stoic practices: morning reflection, evening review, and the dichotomy of control. Build this foundation for 30 days. Step 3. Pattern recognition. Notice what Stoic practices don't address. Are there recurring emotional reactions, relationship conflicts, or behavioral patterns that persist despite your philosophical practice? Step 4. Strategic intervention. For persistent patterns, seek psychological insight through therapy, self-help psychology books, or structured programs. Step 5. Integration. Use Stoic principles to implement psychological insights and psychological understanding to deepen your Stoic practice. The long-term vision. The goal isn't to choose between ancient wisdom and modern science. To become someone who can draw from both traditions as needed. You want to be someone who has the daily resilience of a Stoic and the self-awareness of someone who's done psychological work. Your personal philosophy statement. Develop a personal statement that integrates both approaches. I take responsibility for my responses to life while remaining open to understanding the deeper patterns that shape my behavior. I build daily resilience through ancient practices while seeking modern help when needed. The ancient Stoics and modern psychologists were both trying to solve the same fundamental human problem: how to live well in a complex world. They developed different tools, but they don't have to compete. Your mental health is too important to limit yourself to just one approach. The most resilient people I know combine Stoicism's daily strength building with modern psychology's deep healing insights. If this video helped you see how these approaches can work together, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Are you more naturally drawn to the Stoic or psychological approaches? And if you want to explore more ways to integrate ancient wisdom with modern science for practical life transformation, subscribe and ring that notification bell. Next week, we're diving deep into Marcus Aurelius's personal crisis management system and how it compares to modern stress management techniques. You won't want to miss it. Remember, you have the power to choose your response to any situation, and you also have the wisdom to seek help when you need it. That's not a contradiction. That's integration.